Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to part 5 of What If Deku Had Lelouch's geass power. Last I left off, I believe it was the battle of the heroes and the anti-All Might armor, and the start of the sports festival. So, let's get into this. We start off as Momo and Deku are sitting back in the onshore house as they're sitting there watching TV and they're thinking about what they should train. As Deku gets up from the couch as he walks back into the indoor gym they have. As he starts doing weightlifting training, as well as duration training, such as building up his. He practices his ability to take more hits, per se. So he asks Momo to build some items and start fighting against him. And he would also train her for hand-to-hand combat as well as hand-to-range combat, such as against firearms. After their time has passed and they get to the class, and Mr. Aizawa tells them to get their gear ready, or get their gym uniform ready, and head down to the stadium. As they were doing this, they would notice Deku has more scars on him as they're changing. So Kirishima, Todoroki, and a couple others walk up and ask him what happened, as Deku would just simply say that he did some heavy training. And he never really emphasized on the heavy part, so they don't know how heavy he went. But they just accepted that he's going to be trying really hard during this. So, after they're done changing, they all decide to head down to the arena, and Deku would find Momo and would walk together with her, and they would quietly talk about some of their new moving ahead plans of their organization. As Deku brought up one thing that surprised Momo the most, as he would say, let's expand our empire, or per se our organization a little bit, shall we? She was wondering who we should make join us, make a part of our group. He would say, what about the hero killer, Stain? His methods go a little beyond what we may do now, but his ideals are pretty much close to ours, except we go after villains as well. She thought of this for a second, saying to herself that that is true, but the one thing that he does do is kill, and we don't really kill, I think. She hasn't really been in here long enough to know if they kill or not, so as far as she knows, they kill. Or they don't kill. Time passes as Midnight walks up on the stage, spins the wheel, and they get the obstacle course. And as they're walking up to get ready to run the obstacle course, Deku looks straight into the eyes of Todoroki, and Todoroki looks dead in his eyes, as he had him under his control. As he tells Todoroki, whenever the obstacle course starts, freeze everyone but me and Momo. And as soon as they had the gunfire with the blank cap, Todoroki did exactly as he was told. And then Deku told him to, Deku released him from his control, as Todoroki was just standing there as Momo and Deku were ahead of him, and he looked back to see everyone frozen, as he would just unfreeze everyone as fast as he can, and then just run off, being third place behind Momo and Deku. First up was the 0-pointers and the 3-pointers. Momo made some iron poles and some pipes, tossed one to Deku, as they would just run past him and immobilizing them, but not destroying them, for everyone else to destroy them, as they just kept running. Then next was the pitfall, with the ropes and the pillars. They would have a little bit of trouble with this, but they were still able to do it with the help of Momo's creation and Deku's strength and agility. As she would make the items, Deku would use them, carrying her on his back. And Todoroki making a bridge of ice going across the pitfall, and right behind it, destroying it behind him. So everyone else has to find their own way. Then we get to the minefield. And this is going to be the easiest part for Todoroki, but one of the hardest for Momo and Deku. But they go slow, and then Deku thinks of the idea of why not just slingshot each other over. So she makes some rope and some poles, and she sticks it into the ground. But the rope was a little elastic, so it could be pulled back like a slingshot. And Deku pulls her back, and she launches, being first place, landing right across the minefield, just barely making it. Then Deku launches himself. He lands about 3/4 of the way in on the minefield, almost triggering a mine, but he stops himself right before he does. Then proceeds to just hop and walk and sprint over every mine in his way, with Todoroki freezing him as he glides over him, being right on the tail of Deku. Now what Deku would do is he would hypnotize one of the students just right behind Todoroki, to get the student to hold off Todoroki by distracting him or causing a slip-up, which worked, but barely. Causing Todoroki to look up as he sees Deku run off right behind Momo and then passes her. And the placement order goes Deku first, Momo second, Todoroki third. I'm going to say Kirishima fourth, Bakugou fifth. And the point orders are, they make the announcement that from last place on the tournament is 5 points and goes up 5 points every time, and then you hit first place, which is the 10 million points. Deku thinking to himself that he kind of screwed up, but this will make it easier. He gets Momo on his team, and then he hypnotizes Todoroki, Kirishima, and he also hypnotizes Tetsu. He puts Todoroki in the front, Momo in the back, Kirishima and Tetsu on the sides. The plan was to have Todoroki be the main defense in the front, Momo being the defense in the back and also a front runner, and Kirishima and Tetsu as the defense for the sides. And anyone that got close, Deku would just look in their eyes and hypnotize them and tell their team to go the other way. This plan would work, getting them first place. And then the other teams would go as canon, so everyone that was on Todoroki's team would still make it, but they would have like another member on their team. Same for Bakugou's team, Kirishima, Tetsu's, and Momo's. Then when came time for the announcements for the tournament, Kirishima, Tetsu, and Todoroki say that they don't remember anything from their side of the tournament. Same for everyone that was on Shinso's team, saying that they want to drop out. Well, everyone on Shinso's team does. Kirishima, Tetsu, and Todoroki don't, because they want to see who's the best. They would all say fine, and then the replacement for where Tetsu's team was would bring up. As this tournament would go on, it's Shinso versus Deku. they both have a hypnotizing quirk, which Deku has absolute control with no drawback. So pain inflicted on him doesn't change it. They're still under control. As to where Shinso's, you have to respond to him, and you have to have pain to break off the hypnotic use on you. So as soon as the match would start, Deku looks directly in Shinso's eyes, gets him hypnotized, makes him walk out of the ring, and then unhypnotizes him. Moves on to the next round. Everyone else's matches go as canon until it's Todoroki versus Deku. And Deku would hypnotize Todoroki to make him use his fire and his ice side. Instead of encouraging him, he just hypnotizes him straight up and tells him, I want you to use both sides of your quirk, your fire and your ice, at your full extent of your power to fight me. And he does so. The winner being Deku, but just barely. As soon as Deku would break off the hypnotic curse, or the hypnotic effect on Todoroki, he would look up to see that Deku is standing there bruised, burned, and covered in water and ice. As Todoroki would ask what happened, Deku said, sorry I had to hypnotize you to use both sides of your quirk, your fire and your ice, but it was well worth it. I almost got knocked out there, as he would walk over to Todoroki, giving him a hand up. And they would walk back into the room to go to Recovery Girl to get checked up on, just in case they had any serious injuries. The match was to still continue, just like in canon, and then this time it's Deku versus Ida. Deku's a little bit more versatile and has more reflexes than on canon, so he's able to dodge Ida's reciprocal burst and his full speed. But the reciprocal burst just barely, because he's pretty much going near the speed of sound. As Deku would just barely dodge it, he would just bend backwards as the kick would go flying over his face, and he could just barely, if he just leaned his face up just a centimeter, his nose would be touching it. As Ida would launch out of the ring, almost hitting the wall behind him as he sticks his feet and his hands into the ground, slowing down and stopping. Deku says that it was a good strategy, but you need to think of more of how to use your reciprocal burst as more like a last case scenario, and also try using your hands too. Your legs are your main weapon, but if you can use your hands in combat as well, you'll be a very effective hero. As Ida would take this into account, thinking that he needs to make some changes to his costume whenever he gets the chance to make him more efficient. And now it's the fight between Bakugou and Deku. Now, in this, Deku hates Bakugou, and Bakugou hates Deku. So, in order to make Bakugou really angry, he hypnotizes him, tells Bakugou to explode his face, and then walk out the ring. Bakugou does so, and the hypnotic effect breaks off, and Bakugou would realize that he's out of the ring, asking what happened, as Deku is just sitting there pointing and laughing at him, saying, dude, why is your face all burned? Bakugou feels his face and realizes there's scorch marks from an explosion on there, but he didn't even use his quirk on it. As he would get mad, he would start charging at Deku, as Deku would just re-hypnotize him and tell him to explode his face again and then just sit down. As he didn't break the hypnotic effect on him this time, he left him there sitting on the ground. So he explodes his face and he just sits there on the ground waiting. Midnight would make the announcement, Zuka Midoriya wins. And then next is the award ceremony. As they would give out the awards, Tokoyami and Ida in third, but Ida's not there because he gets the call about the hospital and his brother. And Deku asked Momo to keep tabs on Ida because he was a little stressed. So she hears the call this time, and she tells him about it on a text, and he reads it after the award ceremony. As All Might hands out the awards, telling everyone their stuff in canon, but whenever it gets to Deku, he tells him that his quirk is very amazing, and you would make a very good rescue hero and a capture hero. Him thanking All Might, saying, it's nothing really, just, guess you could say a little pure luck, everyone has good eye contact. As All Might would look him dead in the eyes, and he would ask, what do you mean? And Deku would get a hypnotic effect on All Might, and he would say to All Might, try your hardest. And then he would break the effect. Unknowing that what just happened, he just says the same thing in the announcement, these are amazing heroes, tells this terrible joke, and then runs off. About a day after, they're back in class as they're told to pick their hero names. And I'm gonna let you guys pick out the hero name for Deku and Momo, but everyone else has their canon names. So that happens, and Deku tells Momo to pick an agency in Hosu City. We're gonna go pay a visit to our dear old hero killer. And Deku and Momo get their armor that the engineering team specially made for them. And they have the anti-All Might armor with them as well. So as they're traveling in a group of 3, Jeremiah in the anti-All Might, Deku in the active camo armor, and Momo in her speed armor, which she's the one that controls the anti-speed heroes, or takes them out with speed. So they would all just leap from rooftop to rooftop, just looking around at night, as they would find Stain, and they would just watch him. And this is the day before they head out to their interns. They would just sit there and watch him for a couple hours as he would just kill the hero and then just disappear. Momo on the call would say that they need to make some adjustments to the armor, giving it a thermal and a night vision optic on it, so that they can see clearly. Deku saying he agrees, and Jeremiah saying yes, and Deku would ask what. Jeremiah would say, I have a bad feeling about tomorrow. I'm going to stick around in town here and in one of these abandoned buildings and near an alleyway. So just use your watch on your hero suit and click the red button, and it will send a signal to me, and I will immediately run to you. Deku saying alright, as he would, they would proceed to head back to their submarine base, unnoticed by anyone, and put the armor away, as they would head back to the house, and they would just go to sleep. They wake up the next day, they go to class, then they're told to just go to their internships. Momo and Deku heading to her canon internship, so she's not going to be able to help, but Deku heading to the same one Ida does. And the hero knowing why Ida's here, but not knowing why Deku's here. As the hero would pull Deku aside asking why he's here. Deku would say that he's going to try and do something stupid, so I'm here to keep an eye on him. And the hero asked how he's going to do that, as Deku would say, I have a hypnotic quirk, and if he tries to, I'll stop him. The hero saying thanks. So Deku would push the red button on his watch, and it's a little speaker, as he would quietly say in the speaker on the watch saying, look for the hero killer, subdue him, and bring him onto the base. Put him in one of the cells in the back. We'll talk to him in the interrogation room later. Jeremiah doing so. Just capturing him and bringing him back and locking him up after he already got native. So, he was about to run after him, but Deku hypnotized him and told him to sit down on the ground. Or actually, no, he told him to go back to the hero agency and sit down on the ground and tell him that you were going to go after the hero killer. Which Ida does. He starts running back. As Deku has a sigh of relief, and he just looks up in the night sky, just sitting on the ground, thinking that this is a little hard of a job for him. As he just has a sigh of relief, stands up, puts on his mask, and proceeds to just walk down the dark alleyway, stepping in a puddle of blood from native, and just saying to himself out loud, "Looks like it's time to get those crummy league to get under my command, because I'm the better strategist here, not that rust bucket." And that's where I'm going to leave it off. The next part, spoiler for the next part, why not have a joint force between the League and the Empire to make a stronger alliance? So I hope you guys enjoy. Before this video ends, I want to give a shout out to Ravenclaw What If. I know I already made a video about it, giving him a shout out, telling you guys to check him out, but I want to give him another shout out because he's such an awesome dude, man. I'm not gonna lie, he made a video out there giving a shout out to me, and I highly respect that. So I'm gonna give you 2 shout outs back, man. A small channel giving you 2 shout outs. Even though you're probably gonna be more successful, I'm so happy you gave me that, man. You don't have any idea how much that helps. And I want to give you the biggest shout out I can. Go check out Ravenclaw What If. And I hope you guys enjoy. And I'll see you guys in the next episode or next part. Bye.